Barry O'Neill. This is the CMA Music Festival blog. We're talking about all the artists we got to see and some of the stories they shared with us backstage. Some of the bigger artists backstage were Rascal Flatts and Taylor Swift, who both talked about having recently been in the UK. Rascal Flatts said some journalists asked him something interesting about them covering a Cascada song. Their song, What Hurts the Most. People thought it was them doing a cover of the Cascada dance hit, I suppose, because people in the UK had heard that first, which they thought was quite humorous. And they talked about going back and how they enjoyed being in London. Taylor Swift also talked about being in London as well and said one of the funniest things she found was that the accent, when people were chanting her name, it was funny hearing it in a London accent rather than an American accent. So I suppose it's just good to have people chanting your name anywhere. Lots of other artists talked about travelling abroad, including Jason Aldean, Brad Paisley, even Dierks Bentley. Lots of these guys talked about it, and there are actually some plans for some artists to go over to the UK and abroad this year, including Alan Jackson will be in Scandinavia, and Martina McBride will be performing in Ireland in the next few months, I think. She said she was looking really forward to that. She's been over before and she's looking forward to seeing all her fans again. I think the idea is you go over and you build up a fan base and you come back and that's it. I think one of the most honest answers we got about travelling abroad was from Miranda Lambert backstage. She actually said that at the moment she's trying to work on her career over here, and if it gets to a point where to expand her career she needs to move abroad or perform abroad rather, then that's exactly what she'll do. And I think that's, it's a business, and I think that's what happens when it comes to the stage where they have to travel abroad and it becomes financially viable for them to do that and expand their audience. That's exactly what they'll do. So hopefully that will be some encouragement for the future for other artists to travel abroad. Talking about Miranda Lambert, she was looking really, really good backstage. She's dropped a little bit of weight, and she says this is all because she's really happy in her relationship with boyfriend Blake Shelton. And I think I always thought you were supposed to put on weight when you were in a relationship, but apparently not. And when you're happy, she seems to be looking good, and she was sounding fantastic. On stage, she sounded really good, and I can see why she lost all that weight. She was running about stage completely daft and doing all these sexy dances and hair flips and everything. She's such a great entertainer, such a rocker, and it was much to the delight of the crowds at LP Field. There was some other big acts that hit the stage, a few surprise guests as well. Some of the surprise guests were Sugarland, Kid Rock and Kenny Chesney, who's used to performing at stadiums the size of LP Field. In fact, myself and Pat Geary saw Kenny Chesney probably last year actually. Kenny Chesney last year with Keith Urban and Leanne Rimes performing at LP Field. He's such an entertainer. He takes it all in his stride. Such a shy guy when you speak to him backstage, but on stage, he's just a performer. He's an expert. Well, it was so much fun at the CMA Music Festival, and I actually managed to get myself interviewed on local TV, so you can check out that on the link below. Quite interesting. I'm sure my mum will be proud. If you fancy coming over to any of the tours that we run this year, you can email me for more information at tours@voiceofcountry.com. You can also check out voiceofcountry.com. You can also book your tour for 2010 to the CMA Music Festival. So much fun. It always feels like summer has just begun when the CMA Music Festival is on, although we did have some dodgy weather. There was a bit of thunder and lightning, and the first night the LP Field concert actually got rained out. But it all adds to the excitement. It continued on, and Dierks and Brad went on and finished off the show in style. You can also check out voicecountry.com for tours later on in 2009, like the CMA Music Festival in November and the National Finals Rodeo in December, which is actually in Vegas, and there's talk of Garth Brooks maybe starting up a Vegas show, so you never know, you might get to see him. You can check out details about that story at voiceofcountry.com. Well, that's it from me from a blog, and I will hopefully speak to you soon. Bye.